Welcome to another live stream. Before we continue, can somebody please confirm that they can hear us? Because that is the most important thing. Has it started yet? I really don't know what's going wrong. Okay, it has started.
Yeah, it started.
Okay, so I apologize for that. Let's get going with some questions. I'm just going to have a look. The questions are coming through now, and I'm just going to see. Okay,
Should we do the intro again?
yeah, we'll start again. Can you please share your experience working as a driving examiner at the Mill Hill Test Centre?
Yeah, of course. So, like I said, Mill Hill was my home test centre, but
Yeah.
I did work at a few other test centres local to the area. Now, I loved working as a driving examiner. Now, each driving test is different. No driving test is the same. So, even though like you find that there's a common mistake happening, the candidate will be different.
Yeah.
So it made it interesting, and it made you always it kept you on your toes. You kept thinking, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. The assessment I really enjoyed. So I'm a bit gutted that I left, but it was the best decision.
So why did you leave?
One, I wanted more flexibility, and second would be the traveling, because I was traveling quite some distance from to Mill Hill or even other test centres, and it was just taking up too much of my time traveling there and traveling back with traffic. So ultimately, I'd made that decision to leave in the end.
Good.
So yeah.
Just wanted to say hello, Tamina. Thank you very much for saying that you can hear us and see us. That is much appreciated. So thank you, Tamina. Okay. So as I said, this is Manisha, ex-driving examiner from the Mill Hill Test Centre. We are now going to ask some questions. Now, can you tell me what is expected from a candidate in order for them to pass their driving test?
Okay, so as an ex-examiner, I think the question we used to always ask ourselves before we go out is, we hope that candidate is ready.
Yeah.
They're prepared. So, I mean, with the candidate being prepared is the easy test. You go around, you come back. You don't have much paperwork to also finish. So I would say being prepared for your test, being confident. If there's any areas that you feel it's a slightly weak area, speak to your instructor. Do mock tests. Find out those areas that you struggle with and practice.
Fine. Good. Okay. Can you tell us the difference between a minor fault and a serious fault?
Yeah, so minor faults, also known as driving faults, they would be something that's not a potential danger threat. It's been a mistake. However, continuing to make that mistake could lead to it being a habitual fault.
Yeah.
Now, you are allowed up to 15 driving faults. 16th then becomes a serious fault.
So 15 mistakes, 15 minor mistakes
15 minor mistakes
are acceptable. 16 are not.
16 is not.
Okay.
Now, you've got, obviously, if it's habitual, let's say if you don't check your blind spot over a certain amount of times, that will now become a serious fault.
Yeah.
Dangerous fault, you're looking at an actual threat now, actual danger to either yourself, the examiner, other road users and property. Most dangerous faults, you can also have examiners intervening as well, taking action, either by being a physical or just verbal, just saying stop or taking control. I said it but quite calmly. I don't think examiner will say that quietly. But yeah. Have
you ever sort of stopped a test midway because you didn't feel safe sitting with a particular candidate?
Oh I think I can see it. Yes, I have. Yes, I
Yeah.
have. But it came to the point where I also felt like I couldn't control the test anymore. So we would, as an examiner, try to control it to the best we can because we want to complete the whole test.
Yeah.
But if it does come to the point where we're now, look, it's now becoming a risk to the public and it's just not safe, we would have to abandon the tests, which unfortunately means leaving the car wherever you are.
Well, so you would just leave the car. You wouldn't bring the pupil back to the test
You
center.
wouldn't bring them, no, because if you're making that decision to terminate, you are terminating out on road. So you would choose a safe place, park the candidate, stop on a safe place,
Yeah.
explain to the candidate that you are terminating the test, and then give them the choice whether they want to walk back with you or just wait for the instructor.
I don't think many learner
I
drivers would.
suppose it depends on how far you are from the test centre.
Yeah.
You know, if you're quite far, they might just go in, no, I don't really want to terminate, I don't want to walk.
Yeah.
But it puts the instructor in a difficult position, but it has been done.
Just got to see some comments. Ali, in your opinion, in your opinion, this is from Chris Brenstead. He said, in your opinion, is the test standard high enough?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. So you.
I feel like the test. I'm coming from an experienced driver's point of view now. You know, once you've got the knowledge, I've done the assessing. I personally feel like there's not enough time given to assess a candidate's driving. Now, the driving test itself is around 30, maximum 40 minutes, depending on the road and traffic conditions. And I just honestly don't think it's long enough.
But with the pass rate being so low at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
if the standard was increased, the pass rate would even drop even further, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yes, I can see that. I think a lot of attention also needs to be paid on the instructors as well.
Yeah.
You know, instructors need to be monitored more often. Unfortunately, you do get different levels of instructors out there.
Yeah.
Some people who really give their full 110%, whereas some do tend to take the back seat a little bit.
Yeah.
So if that is also monitored, we can see an increase in the pass rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, no problem at all. Going to ask you a few more questions if you don't mind. Sorry, I'm not very good with technology. I'm trying to learn to use this iPad. I should
I was like, do you want some help?
I should have just wrote the questions on a piece of paper. All right. So I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
If a learner driver made a mistake, let's say, for example, they missed a blind spot check.
Okay.
How would you decide? What's the process, the decision-making process? How would you decide whether that would be a minor fault, serious fault, or the whole? What would go through the examiner's mind at that time?
Okay, so you're talking about the assessment now. So when we notice a mistake, we then look at the effect of it. You know, by missing that one fault, by missing that blind spot check, what have they missed out on? Could there have been something in their blind spot? So we look at different factors, one being a high or low risk. There could be nothing there, so they may have just got away with it.
So one of the factors is the risk factor.
Risk factor. So with nothing being there, they've got away with it. So you could still walk away with a driving fault.
So sorry to interrupt. So what you're saying is that a learner driver could go for the test, so a candidate, not check the blind spot, and there's a possibility that they can get away with it.
It depends on the effect.
Yeah.
Depending on the effect, yes. But don't forget, like I said earlier, missing that mistake again and again can still become a habitual fault. So you still get a serious fault.
So what sort of circumstances would this blind spot become a serious mistake and somebody failed the driving test for it?
So, for example, if I was to move off without doing a blind spot check, and then there's a cyclist or a bike or a car coming down at speed,
Yeah.
you haven't acknowledged the judgment of that speed of the vehicle, you decided to move off, and now you've had an effect because you've slowed down this car.
Mhm.
Now I'm thinking, okay, my assessment would be this person, this candidate, has had an effect on this following vehicle, and then I would determine whether it was a serious fault or whether it was a dangerous fault. Now, serious, okay, has got them to reduce their speed significantly, but there was an immediate threat. So there was an actual danger.
Mhm.
I'm looking at a serious fault. Now, if they've moved off, haven't done a blind spot check, cars coming at speed, and either I have to take action, well, as an examiner has to take action,
Yeah.
or that car had to either swerve, completely stop to a stop to avoid an accident, now I'm looking at dangerous.
Fine. So basically, you've got a scenario where someone doesn't check the blind spot. There's nothing coming. There's nothing around them, and they may get away with a minor fault. You've got somebody else where there is a vehicle coming, and that would usually be marked as a serious fault. And you've got somebody else in the same situation, but this time the vehicle that's approaching has to swerve or has to stop or something along those lines, and that would be marked as a dangerous fault.
Yeah.
Fine. Good. That's it. I'm going to give up with this iPad soon.
Let me help you. There you go.
Thank you. Okay. Do you think that there's any areas of the driving test that come across as more challenging than other areas to learner drivers? For example, let's say the maneuvers. Do you find everyone struggles with the maneuvers, or?
Yeah, I think it depends on the individual.
Mhm.
You know, so some people would struggle with maneuvers. Some people will get it straight away. Some other people might struggle with roundabouts or driving on a fast, like a dual carriageway. It all depends on the individual themselves. So it is good to speak to your instructor and work out those areas so you are fully prepared for them.
Yeah.
And that would definitely help you in the test.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm just going to spend the next 30 seconds, minute, looking at some comments. Harry, driving instructor, said, I agree. However, the route and the area also plays a part in the test standard. Thank you, Harry, for your opinion. Harry's always commenting on my videos. Okay.
Thank you for supporting.
So, this is the big question.
Ooh, okay.
Do driving examiners have to fail a certain number of people?
No. So from the minute you sign in, you know, you're starting your test with a blank sheet. You know, the examiner's not there to create faults. He's not there. They don't just magically appear. They are assessing your driving.
So the faults are created by the learner driver.
Unfortunately. I mean, but you can have drivers that go out and do nothing. You know, they come out with a 0 fault drive. So it is, I mean, you walk out with a clean sheet. It is up to you to try to keep that sheet clean, basically. But no, there's nothing like they have to fail a certain amount. It is all up to that individual. The examiner is there to assess your driving and own your driving. And yeah.
So just to rephrase the question a different way, if it's your last day of the month and you've had, let's say, 7 tests and they've all done very well, they've all come out with clean sheets, no mistakes at all, would they all pass?
So if someone did a whole driving test,
whole test, no mistakes.
No mistakes.
Yeah, they all pass.
They all pass. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, you can't. If there's no mistake being made, what are you meant to mark?
Yeah, you can't create mistakes.
And not only that, it's actually easier for an examiner.
Yeah.
Examiners would like a pass because it's less paperwork. You know, once you start making mistakes, as an examiner, you had to write a log of all the mistakes,
Yeah.
detailed, to the
So
road,
where the mistake happened.
where the mistake happened, where it happened, what was the effect. So it's official, right? Like you have to do it write it up officially. So for a pass, it's just tick, done,
Yeah.
and I'm back in the office again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because a lot of learner drivers, they think that, oh, the examiner wants to go home quickly, they just failed me and that's it.
No, because actually they will take longer to leave.
Yeah,
So
because,
a pass is actually easier for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fine, good. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Let's just talk about preparing for the driving test a little bit.
Yeah.
In your view, what's the best way a candidate can prepare for the driving test? What can they do? What can a learner driver do to ensure that they are prepared for the test?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things they can do. One is we'll start from the beginning. So we're talking about a completely beginner driver.
Yeah.
Having a good instructor. Having an instructor that is going to teach you, who knows the test requirements as well. You then got
Sorry, can I just interrupt you in that? You say having a good instructor. Now, how does somebody know what a good instructor is?
Well, I always do say as well, like you should shop around when it comes to instructors, because sometimes the way a certain instructor teaches may not benefit you.
Yeah.
So it is good to shop around.
So,
second thing is you should be able to walk away from that lesson thinking that, you know what, yes, I have learned something today.
fine.
Not feel like you're sort of stuck on that same path. You've been doing the same lesson again and again,
Yeah.
and there's been no improvement. So if you are walking away thinking, you know what, I've actually learned something today, you've made that progress. You then can have, it's like checklists, like, progress cheats you can do with your instructor, see where you should be next.
Yeah.
I think all these are small little things, but they do make a difference when it comes to your learning.
Fine. Good. Thank you. Just reading. We got Nishi said. She says, "How do you feel about the rule about pedestrians having the right of way?"
This was something we were talking about not long ago, actually. I feel like we're going to go into this. Okay, let's go into this. Now, as a driver, the rule is when you are turning, if you see a pedestrian, you should give way if it's safe to do so. Now, it's just having that extra observation as you're turning into a road. If you see a pedestrian there, they're looking like they're already starting to walk. It's just common sense to give in, just to be safe. But take care of what's surrounding. Don't go so harsh on that foot brake. There might be a car behind you that you may not see. So the word being then at the end, if it is safe to do so. Speak to your instructor if you want more information on that. But then I think what me and Nishi were actually trying to have a conversation was about pedestrians. How pedestrians are now misunderstanding it and assuming they now have priority just to walk out in front of a car.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. Now, it is obviously if you see a car coming at you at 40, 30 miles per hour, you're not going to cross the road. So that's...
Well, to be honest, I think any pedestrian who thinks that they've got right of way and just going to cross the road, that's just foolish anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. How much importance would you place on mock tests, and do you have any tips for getting the most out of mock tests?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so mock test, 100% agree. Like they're really good. Have a huge advantage to preparing for your driving test. It will help you build up those confidence as well for your test. It's also putting you in that testing situation. Because you're having to do it all by yourself. You can't rely on your instructor. You can't ask for any help. And that's what ultimately your driving test is going to be about.
Yeah.
However, I've got a few things that I do also think, in my opinion, when it comes to the mock test, is make sure if you are doing a mock test,
Yeah.
the instructor you're using understands how the examiner is,
Mhm.
how the examiner assesses. Because a lot of times, like give you a scenario, during a mock test, a candidate touches a curb.
Yeah.
Examiner can now then, sorry, the instructor can be like, well, that's a serious fault now.
Yeah.
So now this candidate is on a driving test and they touch the curb. Mind word being touch. Now that candidate will in their mind think that's a serious fault, and that pressure will be on them possibly for the rest of the test.
Yeah, thinking that they failed
Thinking
when
that they've done a mistake
Yeah.
when actually it probably wasn't even a mistake. So it's making sure your instructor understands how the examiners assess.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is just be careful with the mock test as well. I mean, it's a great way to understand your weaknesses, but make sure it doesn't knock your confidence. Use it as a learning tool and be like, okay, well, I need to work on this now, and that's going to help me for my test.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Good. Okay.
Just the top button here.
Well, that just shows how old I am. I can't use an iPad. Okay. Let's talk about the day of the driving test. Can you walk us through what happens on the day of the driving test in the view of the examiner?
New examiner. Okay, so the examiner.
I mean, sorry. Do you get to choose who you want to take? I mean, you've got a list of candidates. Can you just say, "I'll take this," or "I'll take this person," "I'll take this person"?
No. It's literally all done for you already. I mean, now they have iPads, so in the morning when you go.
No wonder you're good with iPads.
Well, I tried. So yeah. So yeah, you walk out. You already had. You start your day. You already have the list of the customers that you're going to be seeing. That's all sort of done for you already.
Mhm.
I'm just going to say high up because I wasn't too sure myself.
Yeah.
Then you go out into the waiting room, call the person you're seeing, get them to sign in. You sign the insurance. So was it the insurance and residency declaration? I nearly forgot that.
That's the one.
That's the one. Check the license. Make sure you're taking the right person. It is a common mistake, especially if you have someone in the waiting room that has a very similar name. Like you have two people, like say, I don't know.
Well, that's okay. We understand. It's two people with a similar name.
Check the details, and then that's when you start walking out towards the car. So on the way, you would do an eyesight check. Mm-hmm. The examiner will tend to ask the tell me question while you're walking or once you sit in the car. You then start your driving test. Would you like me to go over the legal requirements of the test as well?
No, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. There's so much legal requirements.
So that's about it. And then you do your test. We tend to be quiet, mainly because we don't want to be talking while the candidate is doing the test. We don't want to disturb them, but we would choose places. For example, if you're stationary at a red light, or you're on a long continued road, and you've got nothing going on. So we might try to engage conversation then, but we're just normal people. Examiners are just normal people. Honestly, they're just there to do the job. Don't be afraid of them. Start a conversation. Just say hi. How's your day going? It's just all it is, And once you finish your test, whatever the result is, you do your write up, and you're on for the next test.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, just going to read a comment here. Harry William Dabbling said he's a driving instructor. He says that the DVSA do mock test pack aimed at instructors and students, which is available free of charge and accessible on Google. So that's a bit more information for you guys. Also take a look at the DT1, which will give further information.
Can I add to that Harry's comment as well? DVSA have also come out with a Ready to Pass campaign, introduced a few years back now, I believe. But what they do with that is they've got loads of tips on it. You can go on the gov.uk website, type in Ready to Pass campaign, it will come up. But you can also check up if your local test centre is doing any open days. You can
Yeah.
meet the examiners, call them up and see if you can meet examiners. You can actually have a face-to-face interaction with them. If you've got any
That'd be a
questions,
great idea,
yeah,
especially if you know you're going to be doing your test
yeah,
there.
exactly. I mean, I was quite lucky enough to be part of one with Mill Hill and Hendon
Yeah.
Test Centre. So I was quite lucky to be part of an open day and event, and it was amazing turnout. I believe we had about 200 people that actually turned up.
Hmm.
So do call your local test centre and see if they do have something like that, because it could really benefit a lot of candidates out
Yeah,
there.
that's a great suggestion. I'm sure that many people did not know that driving test centers have open days, and as Manisha said, call your local driving test center and ask them when the next open day is. Okay, reverse maneuvers. Do you have any tips for candidates who are worried about the reverse maneuvers? Because, in my opinion, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of learner drivers, they struggle with their
Yeah,
reversing.
I mean, practice is one. But I
Yeah,
know, I know,
practice.
I know you've made a video to this, which is a great movie video. Do search for it. But I think it's just keeping it slow. Keeping the vehicles the speed slow
Yeah.
allows you to have that control, and then it allows you to carry out those observations throughout the maneuver. But practice is key as well.
So
Yeah,
practice makes perfect.
basically
Are
yes.
you allowed to stop completely in the middle of a maneuver to make all the observations?
Yes, of course you can. Yeah.
So you can stop.
You can have a pause and you can carry on going. Yes, you don't want to take too long,
Yeah. But
because you got the rest of the
what
test.
happens if you feel you're going to hit the curb?
Okay, no, you can stop.
And can you go forward? Can you start
So
again?
corrections. Now the correction, it does depend on what the correction is. Now,
Yeah.
for example, let's say we're talking about the reverse vehicle parking exercise. So
Yeah.
parallel park. Now, let's say you're reversing back, you touch the curb.
Yeah.
You to go forward, you can easily correct it, adjust your vehicle, and then carry on reversing.
Yeah.
That is allowed.
But
You
not
know,
start all over again.
you don't want to start all over again.
Yeah.
No, it all depends on the situation, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yes, you are allowed to correct your position. It depends on the correction, whether it be a comfort or whether it be actually a driving fault as well. Now, if you're now reversing back, you touch the curb and you try to continue reversing, going up on the
Yeah.
pavement, now we're opening up a different walk box. So now we're
Yeah.
looking on a serious level.
Yeah.
So just know you are allowed to correct, but it does depend on the correction. Don't go too close to a curb.
Yeah.
If you know there's a wall behind you, don't go too close to the wall. Try to correct before
I
that.
think that's good advice. Don't get too close.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, oops.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you
I
go.
did something there.
There you go.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. What support can a driving examiner offer
Hmm.
to a candidate that is feeling so nervous that it's starting to affect their driving?
Yeah. I mean, it's a test situation, isn't it? So
It is, but
yeah,
a
so
lot of
people tend to
people,
get nervous. So there is a few things you can do. I mean, at the time of the booking itself, like let's say if you suffer from high anxiety,
yeah,
so you can write this as information, and when you're booking your driving test, it alerts the examiner. So when we open that test booking at that time, it will come out that so and so suffers from high anxiety. This now opens up, apart from me, now to address the customer, be like, okay, so is there anything I can do to make you feel comfortable? Obviously, we have examiners are trained to make sure all driving tests are conducted equally.
yeah,
We do also have examiners do have time constraints. They have to be back for the next test, so they can't allow extra time.
hmm,
That's not the case, but they can make certain things comfortable, like repeating a direction. You
yeah,
know, if you need extra help with turning left and right,
hmm,
depends on the examiner as well. I have in the past offered to help with directions. Like, for example, if turning left, I'll just say to turn left. For example, sorry, turning left. Yeah.
yeah,
Just if it helps, and also it helps them calm down. But always remember the customer is in control of their test as well. Bring some water with you. You have requirements during your test where you be paused, like for example, pulled up on the left. Have some water, try to calm down, and then carry on going again.
What about the independent drive? I mean, independent driving section. If someone has a learning difficulty, uh, how would you address that? If they wanted, let's say, to change the color or the volume of the sat nav, or um,
Unfortunately, not allowed.
you're not allowed to,
No,
you can't change.
because then it's not equally done, isn't it? Because if we've changed a setting or made it louder, or it's already on full volume
Oh, it's
already.
already on
It's
full.
already on full volume.
Yeah,
It's zoomed into the right point. It's given the right structure, so it's been set up, which it will be done for the same for everyone else.
that's a surprise to me, because I was under the impression that if you have a learning difficulty, uh, you are allowed to request the sat nav to be adjusted
Well,
for.
you're allowed to. Are given the option of choosing traffic signs or
I
sat
see.
nav.
Yes, yes.
So you do
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
choice.
Good.
So if you do say you do have a learning
Yeah.
difficulty, you can then opt in for the one that you feel more
Oh,
comfortable with.
fantastic. Thank you for that. I think that's a
I
very
think it's also written on the DT1 as well, so you double check it.
that's a very good point. So if you have a learning difficulty and you inform the DVSA at the time of booking, excuse me, that you prefer the sat nav, or you prefer reading the road signs to the sat nav, then that request can be taken into consideration. Okay, we're going to come to an end very soon. Before we do so, let's just have a look at a few more comments. Ronnie said, "Do you have any advice for candidates who don't speak fluent English?"
So, when I was working as examiner, we tend to have customers whose English wasn't the greatest.
Mhm.
The idea is, as long as you understand the main things, like turning left, turning right, at the end of the road, turn
Yeah,
left at the end of the road, or pull up on the left at a safe place, or pull up on the left by the lamppost. The examiners will adapt to it
yeah,
slightly, but obviously we do need you to understand the
yeah.
basics. Like if
Okay,
you don't know how to turn left and right, you are
yeah.
making it difficult for the examiner to conduct a test.
Now, the only reason I started laughing there, I remember when I was teaching, I had this pupil, and she says, "Oh, the examiner, he was talking in sort of funny language." I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, and this is something the instructors, I think, should try to do, is use the terminology that that
Examiners
driving
use,
examiners use.
yes, yeah.
Because she said, the examiner said to me, "Could you pull up on the left instead of could you stop?" She says,
Yeah.
"What's meant by pull up?
Yeah.
Why not say, could you stop on the
Still
left?"
stubborn.
So I think it's a good idea for instructors
Yeah.
to use the same terminology as driving
Yeah. Well, a
examiners.
lot of thought process has gone into these wordings that the examiners use.
Yeah,
Because by saying stop on the left, someone could literally just go,
yeah, just
because technically that's what you've asked them to do.
yeah,
So and even like, for example, things like tends to really happen as when you're an instructor or telling anyone direction, go straight ahead at the roundabout,
yeah,
but examiners won't be saying that. They'll say follow the road ahead,
yeah.
because you need to follow the road, whereas literally saying straight,
Means going over it.
going over it,
Yeah,
and God forbid if it's a race, proper race one.
they'll be flying over the roundabout.
At full speed.
Okay. Very soon, as I said, we're going to be finishing off. So if anybody wants to ask Manisha any questions, they need to do that
Then.
now. Okay. Not many questions coming in. The pass rate Leo said the pass rate would be lower because drive. Yeah, we've discussed that. You okay there?
Yeah, just want to have some water.
Okay, just a couple of more questions to finish off. That's okay. Don't worry. Just on a personal note, um, throughout your career, what's the most memorable of the tests that you've done? So, is there one particular
Yeah.
driving test that you always remember?
Yeah, no, definitely. There's this one girl, she came, and she gave me the perfect drive, like zero fault drive, perfect drive. It was so smooth going all the way around. But right near towards the end, I've
Yeah.
told her at the end of the road, turn right. She's taken her vehicle and fully placed it on the wrong side of the road.
Completely on the wrong side.
Completely on the wrong side. To add to it, a car also was wanted to turn in, so she's now blocked the path of this car wanting to turn in.
Brain freeze, isn't it?
I just don't know what happened, and I still think about it. And I
Yeah.
even said to her at the end of the test, like, I'm sorry to say that you haven't passed, but I had to ask her what happened, because that was the
So
only serious fault.
what did happen?
I think, like you said, to be honest with you, it was such a long time ago. I don't actually remember word for word, but I
Yeah.
remember the test, because even I sort of jumped up from my seat going, what have you just done?
Yeah.
We're so close to the end. But yeah, still remember that test. Right.
Okay. Would you like to offer one sort of advice to the viewers who are preparing for their driving test, who've got their driving test in the next few days, few weeks, months? Just general advice to the viewers, basically.
So be prepared, one. Try not to try to spend the time preparing, practice, speak to your instructor, but try not to worry too much. Like, just go through your test, take each turn as it comes, try
Yeah.
dealing with it. Don't think about the whole test, don't think about the maneuver, everything. Let it come. They will break it down for you. Like, you've got stops you do, you
Yeah.
stop, you pull up, have a drink of water, carry on going again. But I say the test is less than a TV show nowadays. You're
It's
less than a TV show.
Yeah.
Because it's not that long. You got now hour-long episodes of a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you know it, the test will be over.
Mhm.
And you work. Customers can tend to like work themselves up a lot. But
Yeah.
just try to relax. You are prepared for it. That's why you are going for your test.
So what you're no longer an examiner, you're an ex-driving examiner. So what are you currently doing?
Well, I'm currently instructing, so working as a driving instructor, and yeah, now trying to give all the knowledge I know and passing it on, basically. But I'm really enjoying it because as an examiner, you're quiet. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to teach. You're not allowed to say anything. You're there, do your job, you give your result at the end. But now it's nice because now I can be like, I can tell customers what the examiners are looking for.
Yeah.
I can share that information. I can let them know like what the mistake they've done.
Mhm.
What is it? Is it
Yeah.
is it serious fault? Is it drug? This is what it will be like in the test.
Yeah.
And I can create that testing situation for them. So I am enjoying it.
Manisha, thank you.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me.
As you heard, Manisha's an instructor at the moment. So if anybody wants to do a mock test with Manisha, then they can contact a DTC and we can arrange that for you. Next week, next week's live will be again at 4 p.m. But over the next few weeks, I'm going to be focusing on the theory test. Maybe doing some mock tests or choosing some questions and going through those questions and helping learner drivers not just to know the answers, but to understand the question in full and so they can use this knowledge not only to pass the theory test, but they can use this knowledge for their practical test and for safer driving for the rest of their lives. I just want to say thank you very much once again to Manisha, and thank you to all the viewers for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.